Today we're at the Rogue Hop Yard, and I know what you're thinking. It means there's going to be a beer in my future, and there is. But actually, it's going to be in a bar of soap. And joining me today is Tammy from Farmland Soap, and she uses Rogue beer in her soaps and other soaps. And today she's going to show us how you could make soap too. So how do we get started? And I know safety is an issue here.
It certainly is. We start with protective gloves, eyewear, a long sleeve shirt, and the reason is because we'll be using lye. Lye is a caustic substance, and we have to not get splashed with it. What happens in the soap making process is when the lye is mixed with the oils, a chemical process conversion happens, and the oil and the lye become soap and glycerin.
Okay, so Tammy, I see a hot pot here, so what's our next step?
Our next step is to add coconut and palm oils. Coconut in soap making helps to create big bubbles.
Okay.
It's also very moisturizing. So I'm measuring out to 36 ounces, which I think is going to be pretty much this whole bit here.
Okay. And does it have to be exact or just pretty close?
It does. It has to be very exact.
So it is science.
It is science because you need to mix the exact amounts of oil with the correct amount of lye.
Okay.
And the next one is palm oil. This is has a little bit different consistency, you can see. It makes a hard bar.
Okay.
And it's also very, it makes an emollient bar for your skin. If you think about these ingredients, the next one we're going to be measuring is olive. This was palm.
Olive oil, okay.
Palm olive. Palm olive.
Ah, okay, okay, all
Isn't
right.
that something
Yeah,
I never
yeah,
knew until
okay.
I started making soap.
Now I learned something new too, that's good. And how much olive oil are you going to use?
We're going to be using a full 100 ounces. All my soaps are mainly olive oil soaps.
Okay. And what other oils besides the olive oil would you use, or do you use?
I'm going to be using some castor oil. Castor oil makes a very stable lather, smaller bubbles than coconut oil, but a very stable lather, and it also is a humectant. It draws moisture to your skin.
Okay.
So now we've added most of the olive oil, and this is the last 50 ounces.
Of the olive oil?
Of the olive oil.
Okay.
I did add in the 8 ounces of castor oil. It's already in there, and we're melted.
So we're gonna mix this, and then you're gonna be looking for a specific temperature.
I'm going to be looking for about 110 degrees in the oil before we pour the lye in.
Okay, well, we'll get that right, and then we'll come back and see the magic.
All right.
So the temperature's ready?
Yes, temperature's ready.
Okay. So
It's time to add the beer and the lye. So I've pre-mixed the beer with the correct amount of lye. It's 56 ounces of Dead Guy Ale. And now we're going to slowly stir it into the oil.
I remember you saying once that the lye goes into the oil, not the other way around,
Exactly
correct?
that.
Okay.
So these are the essential oils I've chosen to use with this batch.
Okay.
It is evenly mixed peppermint and spearmint.
Peppermint, spearmint, and beer.
It is Willamette Valley mints. I try to buy local whenever I can.
That's a great thing.
So you'll start to see a color change.
Yeah, I can say it looks like it's thickening a little bit too.
And it certainly is. And then we're just going to beat it a little bit here. So we're just making sure that the oils and the lye have completely emulsified.
Okay.
It's possible once you pour it into the mold that it can separate, so we don't want it to separate. Once it's in there, we want to be sure it's completely mixed. And what we're looking for is called trace, where it leaves just a little bit of a trace of the dots on the top of the soap. And I can see that's happening now, so it's time to pour.
All right.
Those were chunks where it's already started to make itself into soap. to solidify.
So how long is this going to set up?
So
In your mold.
this will stay in the mold. Actually, in the next about 40 minutes, it will be pretty firm. And I insulate it normally, and it heats up even further.
Okay.
And from the inside, in the center of the mold, it does what's called a gel phase. It will get deep dark color, and it gets very hot, and that heat seeps its way out to the edges, and that's called the gel phase. I let it sit in the mold then for about 2 days before I take it out.
Okay, and we've got one we're going to take a look at now, right?
We do.
All right. So the transformation is complete. Now we need to make it into a bar of soap.
That's it.
That looks like the fun part.
That's where we're headed. It's great fun.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite parts.
Is it? All right. Yeah, your projects are complete and finished product.
So this is a wire cutter, and it's going to cut it into a log for us.
Okay.
So this is the same soap that we just made, only it's 2 days older.
Wow, and it cuts like butter. I know it's
It
a
does.
cliche saying, but
This is 28 pounds here.
wow.
So this is a log that is then going to be placed into the soap cutter.
Okay.
So I'll lift this up for you.
All right, and we're going to go down
And you're
this
going
way?
to, any way you want.
Okay.
And we're going to center it in there as best we can.
Okay, that's
That's about it.
best
And then
you
I'll have you bring that down.
all right, and that's it. So people that are interested in buying your soap, where can they go? Where can they find it?
My beer soaps are at the Chateau Rogue Tasting Room, and I can be found online at farmlandsoap.com.
All right, well, thanks for sharing this project. This was really a great learning experience. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.